I have a great way to start our pod today.
Okay.
Just a little, not debate, but just the opinion discussion here. Mel Gibson or Kevin Costner?
For what?
Who's had the better career? Who is better?
Mel Gibson, I think,
Why do you
has
think?
had a better career.
Why so?
Well, he's just, like back in the 80s. You guys are too young to really know the Mel Gibson greatness, I guess, probably. Right?
No,
like,
I know all. I know
like
all this
Lethal
stuff.
Weapon 1, 2, 3.
Lethal Weapons.
Might have been 5 of them. I'm not even
Mad
sure.
Max. I'm gonna go through. What we'll do is we'll go through
Go
a few
through
of their
some
stuff.
Yeah,
because I'm gonna say Kevin Costner, but
I'm gonna go through.
All Kevin Costner had was Dances with Wolves and Bodyguard.
and Robin Hood.
Yeah,
Prince
I'm
of
actually
Thieves.
might side with. I mean, Kevin Costner has really revitalized his career. And
The
he's really
Postman?
Lately, yeah.
long,
lately.
and Mel had the whole Jew
He did.
upset
and the
rant.
drunkenness and the drunkenness. But he also had Passion of the Christ,
Passion of
which
the
was
Christ.
like
He had Apocalypto.
unbelievable money.
That's ones he directed, and then he did Maverick. He did Ransom.
Maverick was awesome.
He did Living Dangerously. You never saw that. What Women Want. Classic.
That was great. Yeah.
He did Signs. Mad
That was-
Max,
Signs was
obviously.
good. Mad Max
Lethal
was awesome.
Weapon.
1, 2,
The
and 3.
Patriot. Do you want The Patriot?
Patriot was good.
So I think, and then obviously his big banger, Braveheart.
Yeah.
I think he wrote it, directed it, and was obviously the star in it. So I think his peak is a little bit, definitely higher than Kevin Costner's. So let's go through Kevin's right now. You got
Dances with
Silverado,
Wolves.
Dances with Wolves. He did The Guardian, and he's in tons of westerns. So you have to think like Yellowstone. He was awesome in, right?
That's a series though.
The
That
body
doesn't
is it the
count.
Bodyguard he's in.
The
in The
Bodyguard.
Bodyguard.
Yeah, that was
that
big.
was it. I mean, that was
He was in
huge.
that one with
inspired-
Ashton Kutcher when they were like.
That was The Guardian.
That's The Guardian.
Uh-huh. All right, so let's move on. So we I think we kind of said Mel, and this is Alex kind of said Kevin, but we're
right,
I'm on the
he's
Mel. I
wrong,
think Mel's
yeah.
up there. This is a good one too. Christian Bale or Brad Pitt.
Christian Bale. Oh, that was actually hard. I thought you were gonna say
Brad Pitt.
That was like that. Christian Bale is incredible though.
Christian Bale is incredible.
Brad Pitt's for sure.
Yeah, Brad Pitt's been
Brad
iconic
Pitt's-
for a lot
yeah.
longer, right?
Is
and
that
he's
true?
so good looking.
I think I mean Christian Bale and Newsies all the way up to now.
You have
He's still in
Legends. Of,
stuff.
you have
Yeah, but
Brad
so
Pitt
is
and
Brad
Legends
Pitt.
of the Fall while this kid's goofing around about
Did
going on
you-
a train to Santa Fe.
And not to mention Brad Pitt. Did you see Bullet Train recently? He's freaking awesome in that, and he's done like like his what would you call that width of characters? Brad Pitt.
I think Brad Pitt's cooler, but I think Christian Bale's like actor skills, his chops are
I
on a
agree.
different level.
I agree.
Think of The Machinist. He's in The Machinist.
Yeah.
American Hustle, Empire of the Sun, the Prestige, The Big Short, Ford versus Ferrari, American Psycho, and then obviously The Dark
Batman.
Knight. And don't forget where he won, The Fighter. So I do think like obviously The Fighter,
What's The Fighter? I don't think I've seen that.
it's an amazing show. It's just you
Well,
have to see it.
I think if I'm gonna take
He's a
one
boxer.
of them, like as an actor, like their actual skills, I'm like, hey, this is guy's gonna showcase his skills. I think Christian Bale's an obvious choice, but Brad Pitt's movies to me have been way more influential,
Iconic.
That even though Dark Knight is arguably one of the greater movies ever, Brad Pitt like has been so. Think of us in our youth with Fight Club, with Seven, with Legends of the Fall.
Mr. and Mrs.
I mean, those
Smith.
are very average. I would say.
Don't forget Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
So he did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Awesome. River Runs Through It.
Yeah.
Oh,
Fight
everyone's
Club.
through it, yeah.
Obviously, super iconic for our age, especially though.
Yeah.
Inglorious Bastards.
Dude, don't forget.
Burn After Reading. What movie you guys probably haven't seen?
The
him
George
in?
Clooney ones where they robbed the bank. What's
Ocean's
that?
11.
11.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in some great movies. Moneyball.
That's
Moneyball
why
was
he
good.
can pull, but that's what he can pull off that Christian Bale can't, which is
cool.
He can go be a normal
he can be
or he can be an actor. Christian Bale, if you put him in Ocean's 11, he has to be a bad guy because he's so unlikable as you could not laugh at something. When is Christian Bale told a joke and you're like, dude, that guy's he's sneaky funny.
He can be sneaky funny in the Big
dude.
Short. He has he's a quirky guy.
He does.
But
But
I want to finish Brad Pitt's
I agree
run
with
here.
Alex on this though.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for Brad Pitt, awesome movie, and then
don't
he was
think
in
I've seen that.
Seven.
Yeah.
He was in Snatch.
Oh my gosh, Snatch.
And one he actually legit. If you probably haven't seen it, it's called The Assassination of Jesse James, and it's very artistic. But that's one of his best movies by far. Great actor.
Have you seen Inglorious Bastards?
Yeah, I think I mentioned
That's
that.
freaking awesome.
He's amazing in Inglourious Basterds.
Amazing.
Side note on Inglourious Basterds, you know the guy that's plays the bear Jew that comes out with the baseball bat?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was Tarantino actually wrote that for Adam Sandler to be in it. But by the time the movie came around, Adam Sandler was doing something else. But Adam Sandler would have been perfect in that role.
Where do you find out all these things about people who are supposed to be in roles but then they didn't?
I make it up on the spot.
Yeah.
No, did you really?
But you bought
No.
it. I can't believe you
Did
just
you
buy
make
it
up that
everything
part
I
about?
say.
What was the one you told me about? Was supposed to be.
Shippy Doopy.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Precious Gems or Uncut Gems, and he can act. It's not just.
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's good. In that Uncut Gems, he's really good.
No, he can act for sure. He would have been awesome in that role because no one knows that actor that played the Bear Jew. No one remembers.
Yeah.
All right, let's continue this though, because I have another one for you. Tom Cruise or Will Smith?
Tom Cruise. I was actually gonna say that this thought popped in my head.
That's not even close, and I don't even like Tom Cruise, so I didn't want to vote for him. But
Has Tom Cruise won Best Actor?
it doesn't matter. His movies are awesome.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Is
Mission Impossible was awesome. Jack Reacher was awesome. That freaking Return from Tomorrow or whatever it's called was freaking awesome.
Day After Tomorrow.
Is that the one where he dies and keeps coming?
Yeah, Day After
that was
Tomorrow.
so good.
Edge of Tomorrow, I think.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Sorry, Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Minority Report.
Minority Report was way good.
Mission Impossibles. Let's see what else.
You
he
guys,
was in.
Tropic Thunder. His
Tropic
cameos in
Thunder.
Tropic Thunder were
He was
like
in
some of
Tropic
the most
Thunder.
impressive things of
He
all
was
time.
awesome in Tropic Thunder. Rain Man, Few Good
Rain
Men,
Man. Yes.
Jerry
yes.
Maguire,
Yes.
and Maverick, obviously.
Well, Tom Cruise is
Top
the
Gun.
greatest of all time, and he's a
As far
living
as
testament.
as far as like blockbuster entertainment movie maker, I don't think there's a bigger star.
No,
I think
He's
just a
always
movie
action
star.
movies though, right?
No, not necessarily.
Now
I
he
mean,
is. Now he used to
Yeah,
be a
he's in,
little
like,
more
the-
choppy.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Was he in Bridget Jones' Diary? Or was that somebody else?
I don't think that was.
So let's think of like Will Smith though has when he's hit, he's really hit. So like he won Best Actor for King Richard after slapping Chris Rock.
Yeah. Like to have an Oscar next to my Grammys. That's one of his songs.
No,
Will
he was
Smith
a sick
songs.
rapper.
Yeah.
Ali, I think he might have won even. I don't even know. Maybe he didn't actually, but I mean he can get up there and then Pursuit of Happiness. Like and then he was a star like during what's it called? Independence Day. I
Yeah,
mean that
Independence
peak
Day,
Will
Men in
Smith
Black.
was legit.
Bad Boys 1 and 2.
Bad Boys, all the Bad Boys. So there's some
We
argument
didn't
there,
even
but
mention his best movie. It's called Bright.
Wild
on
Wild West.
Netflix. I
never saw it.
James
You never saw
West.
Bright?
Desperado.
It's on Netflix. It's really good.
all right, I might check it out.
Yeah, it's really good.
I mean Wild West. That sounds
Wild West was okay.
Desperado. That's a great song. Okay, the last one here.
He's-
This is a good one. This one's gonna be tough. I think I know the answer to this one for myself, but Denzel versus Tom Hanks.
Oh, Denzel by a mile.
Wow. Really?
Oh,
No
I
way.
think Tom Hanks might be the GOAT
Yeah.
Of what?
of just
Of
movies.
being a douche.
Well, he could be a douche.
Yeah. See, I disagree. I think Tom Cruise is the GOAT, but yeah, I don't think there's
No,
a comparison
dude,
between these
Let
two.
me
Yeah.
let's see here. Let's go over.
Denzel is dude. He's had the Equalizer 1, 2, and 3 alone.
Oh my
Alone
gosh.
1, 2, and 3.
Let's go to
Trump
Tom
that.
Hanks though. Let's go to Tom Hanks. He had Big. He has Captain Phillips. Not to mention all the stuff he.
Captain Phillips isn't even good. Go on.
Okay,
What else you got?
Apollo 13.
That was okay.
Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Never saw it.
The Green Mile.
That was good.
Toy Story.
Great.
Saving Private Ryan.
Awesome.
Castaway.
Great.
Philadelphia.
Didn't like it.
Forrest Gump. That
Forrest
I mean,
Gump
that guy
was incredible.
is
Forrest
swinging
Gump was
right
incredible.
now.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Yeah,
I
but if you
really-
go through Denzel's, they're just as good, dude.
I know Denzel's amazing too. That's why I'm putting
But
them
they're
up against
different.
each
This
other.
is hard because they're different. Like Denzel's are usually action movies.
Denzel had Fences, where I think he was nominated. American Gangster, which is a sick movie.
Sick movie.
Dude, freaking awesome movie. There's a couple guys I could have thrown in here. Like Russell Crowe had a good run there. What else did Denzel do? Glory. He did. He Got Game.
Man on Fire.
Inside Man. Man on Fire. Malcolm X. Crimson Tide. Amazing movie. And Training Day.
Do
So
we even say
boom.
Remember the Titans?
Yeah, I was
Not
gonna
even-
say.
he's not, yeah. I'd say I'm going through like 10 movies. All these guys have done like 50 other movies. I can't just go through there.
Well, it feels like Remember the Titans would be like.
How come
It's
you
not.
didn't give us a female? Like this was all male. You're not into actresses.
Oh, I am.
Well, we just
Okay.
already know who the greatest is.
Julia
Very-
Roberts or the Sweet Home Alabama girl.
Oh.
Hold on. There's a great joke about her. I'll tell you later.
Why can't
Okay,
I
so
say
you're
the joke
saying
now?
Reese Witherspoon?
Witherspoon, yeah.
Okay.
I think
so
Reese
you
has
call
had
people
a
by their
bigger
names.
career for sure.
Yeah.
But Julia in her prime, like Aaron Brockovich, is it Aaron Brockovich? What's
Yeah.
the name of the
Yeah,
movie?
Pretty Woman.
She was amazing in that.
Actually, I don't think
Pretty
she was Erin
Woman.
Brockovich. I think that was the other girl.
No, it was her.
It was her. She was so good. She's the
She wouldn't,
not an attorney, but she helps the attorney and
Who's the girl that was in Miss Congeniality?
that was Sandra Bullock.
Bullock. Yeah.
Bullock. I mean, there's a lot of debates we could do here, but I want to start off with a really good debate. And I'm only going to give you guys. I'm going to give you your corners. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, and I will cut you off.
Oh, you're like a moderator?
I'm going to be the moderator here.
You're going to turn off our
The
mics?
subject at hand is college or no college in this day and age. And I'm going to have Alex be the no college. I want you to be pro college. Let's start here. Alex, give me your start of why people shouldn't go to college these days.
So a degree is an intangible asset, right? So an asset being something of value, right? And a degree being intangible because it can help you can use this thing to create wealth in the future, right? Get a job and create wealth in the future for yourself. My biggest issue with going to college is that for so long, this asset, the worth of this piece of paper has been inflated by the entire world around us, by your parents, by your teachers, by everybody, as something you had to do. And because it became less of a want or a achievement and more of a necessity, colleges have then used that along with a combination of super corrupt government programs to hike the price up of their education programs, right? So your tuition prices have gone up because it's something people have to do. It's no longer a want, it's now a need, right? And so you get into this where people are graduating and they're getting degrees in things that don't matter, right? Things, and I'm not talking about, I am talking about the lawyers. I'm not talking about the doctors, okay? But they're graduating things that don't matter, that this asset doesn't really exist for them, and they've spent all this money to get this, which they're never going to get back. Versus somebody who could have gone to a trade school, which is completely discouraged by any parent, right? No parent wants their kid to go into blue-collared work, right? And so instead of becoming a mechanic or becoming a electrician or becoming a carpenter and making, now these guys, all those guys are super rich, right? All those guys are making tons of money. Every builder, anybody with labor skills is super rich because there's too many people with pieces of paper out there that are super in debt because of it.
He crushed it, dude. That's why I love this kid.
I don't know.
Are you prepared?
For me, yeah, well, I mean, for me, I was...
Paul just had his daughter go to college. I mean, she's going in a week.
2 weeks, yeah, or something, yeah. But to me, trade schools are college, so I would say your argument that they should just go do that is going to college. Like going to hair school, going to nail school, because it's just technical training. Now, whether you want to call it university or not, that's like different, but it's still college because it's post-high school, right? So my argument is, just like he stated, the world has put such a value on it that if you don't do it, all these doors are closed to you, right? Like if you want to be a hairstylist at a really nice salon, they won't let you if you haven't gone to hair school.
So let's talk about.
So
let's talk about.
Give him his chance.
Give me my chance, bro.
Give it to him.
And so for me, if you want to close all doors off and not go to college, your opportunities are Chick-fil-A or you start your own business. And so you've just depending on what you want to do with your life, you've closed tons and tons and tons of doors by not going to college because there's so many jobs that literally a requirement is, do they have a college degree or you can't work here.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what the degree is in. So it's stupid that way, but hey, they went to college, so they can now apply.
Okay. So my question is, why are you sending your daughter to get a bachelor's degree?
Oh man, that's a whole different reason. So if you don't send them off to college, 18-year-olds will do nothing. They're moronic.
Good point.
They're like idiotic. And so weirdly, you think they're 18, you've raised them, and now you get to like, I guess, move on with your life, but it's not true. So you have to then continue to like push them along to go figure out their life. And so college is a great place where you go and you meet people like your spouse, but also like really deep friendships are formed. And then you go start businesses together.
Network.
In a lot of cases, right? And so there's just the aspect of it's part of society. And so if you're just going to tell your daughter not to go to college and she's 18 and basically has done nothing with her whole life except go to high school, like, what's she going to go do?
Paul's daughter doesn't listen to this, so she's not going to be disappointed.
Is it such a deep rooted tradition at this point that it can't be changed, like we can't change the norm, or are people you're gonna see like a shift where people are like, I'm choosing not to go to college. I know exactly what I want to do. I don't need those 2 years. It's more nuanced.
That's part of my issue too. Is as Paul brings up, as a parent, like, okay, I want my kid to push them along. What option do you have besides college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in our religion, we
Yeah.
can send people on missions, which is awesome. We can't force them to go, right? But I think that's an amazing educational tool. But I think there should be more. I think we should do a better job of like encouraging, those who aren't going to go on missions to go and spend some time abroad, right? To go like work abroad. Like to me, I look at some of the problem in America is that people's view of America is based off of their computer screen and their phone and their like city block or wherever they live, and less of how much better it is here compared to where it can be elsewhere, and why that's the case, right? And you gain that perspective by living abroad. You gain that perspective by
Actually
living in poverty
going out and
or in struggling, right? And some of college, like in theory, could be this, right? I just think we don't have there's not like a lot of choices for parents of like, hey, here's like, yeah, you want to help your child move forward. Like, here's some options that you can encourage them to do.
does the tradition and the idea of college, the fact that it's so expensive, what do you want? Do you want to see it changed, or do you think it works as it is?
No, for sure the price should change. Like the price,
But
like
it's-
Alex talked about, the price you pay to do it is so stupid. It makes no sense. And then there's this weird, like out of state, you pay more thing going on, which that doesn't make any sense.
Which your
either.
daughter is going
Yeah,
to
my
do. She's
daughter's
going to
doing that to me.
Arizona.
That's why I have knowledge of this. But Alex is right. Like you should have other options in life, whether that's go join the Salvation Army or something. Because that's what I told my daughter. I'm like, hey, you're either going to college or you're going on a mission, so pick one. And she'll probably do both. But
Yeah.
ultimately, it's like, what am I going to do with this 18-year-old?
I do think that age, you need a rite of passage at that age. It's a very impressionable age.
But on the flip side, right, my son, like I encourage him to go to college, but he has zero desire to graduate college, right? And I have zero care whether he does or doesn't, right?
Yeah.
But that's because Coleman's got like tons of skill, right?
He knows
Personality,
what
he's interpersonal, he knows how to go and talk to people, and he's worked since he was
super
like
ambitious.
16,
Yeah.
and he's ambitious, right? My daughter has not worked. She's never had a job. She's just danced and danced and danced and danced and danced and danced, right? And so it's like, and she's very timid when it comes to like, hey, go get a job.
Yeah.
Like you can see like how nervous that makes her to like, oh, I've never had a job. I don't even know how to do that. So it's like, man, I gotta like really
And
get
she'll-
her
yeah,
going now.
yeah.
Where Coleman, it's like, if he didn't ever want to go to a day of college, I know he's going to be fine because he'll figure something
Yeah.
out, right? And so a little bit of it's like how your kid is.
100%. I think, yeah, that you make a good point there because, I mean, hypothetically, say like we have a business right now and our kid wants to work for the business. And they know eventually they want to work for their dad. This is what they want to do. Do you force them to go to college instead of coming working for you, even though they know that's what's going to be their next 30 years or whatever?
I mean, if I did,
Is it a waste of time? Are we just doing
I
that
did
because
tell
are we doing
them-
that because of pressure, like society pressure?
Oh, I mean, I think a lot of people do. I don't, but
Yeah.
for me, it's like, hey, go to college so you can meet a girl and friends and like have that experience. But to Alex's point and what I'm saying, like, you got to measure the cost of that, though, right? How much are you willing to pay for your kid to go have a college experience? Because again, I think there's like, go to college versus go get a degree, like Alex said. Like, is there any point to actually get the degree? I would say no, especially where you're saying like if you're just taking over mom and dad's business.
Well, on that topic, you have college tuition, which is soared like even since we went to school, it's like at least twice as much, maybe 3 times as much, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
your tuition for your daughter, like we won't tell people because then they're
They'll
going to
think
start
I'm rich or
kidnapping our
something.
kids and holding
Student
them
loan-
ransom
no,
because they
student
know
loans.
how much we're willing to pay for
Student loans.
how much we're willing to pay.
Yeah.
But the whole point of this is like, what would you do to fix college prices right now, right? Because this is something that's happened naturally, right? But it's actually been very unnatural. Like, the
Yeah, because they
growth
know. I think the society. I think these colleges know, like, hey, these people, I kind of have to go through us to like take the next step, we can charge them whatever we want.
Well, sort of like there's always supply and demand, right? And so if the price was just ultra high and kids couldn't afford it, they just wouldn't go, and therefore prices would have to.
They're not that with these
price would have to come
with the
down.
Student loans,
that's
though,
that's what I was going to say. That's the problem. That's the problem. They'll loan these kids hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of like, hey, yeah, we'll help you out with $4 or $5 grand a year. Right. So maybe by the time you're done, you're 20 grand in debt, maybe. Right.
Yeah.
But this thing is like people are 100 grand and more to get, just like he said, some liberal arts degree.
Yeah. And I think I mean, to me, that's like getting the government out of the way would be the first step. Right.
Yeah.
The other thing is pressure on these universities. Because what happens, these universities are usually not for profit organizations. Right. And so, but when you're a nonprofit, it doesn't mean that you're acting like altruistically.
Yeah.
It just means that we can't show a profit, so let's just freaking
build
keep
more
hiring
buildings and hire more people,
give more
raises.
yes.
And
So the University of Utah, for example, when we went to college, this is 2005, 2006, I think or 2007, right? There were 2 vice presidents over the entire school, right? So you had a school president and 2 vice presidents over the whole school. That nowadays there's over, I think, almost 30 VPs, right? So these are administrators.
There's literally like 30?
Like 30, right? These are administrators with massive salaries, right? Which, again...
Because we can't show a profit.
Right. Well, that's part of it, right? Is you have, you're also, your revenue is insane. So it's like, hey, man, we can keep raising the price of tuition just to keep up with everybody else. This is what schools out of state are doing, right? So we can compete. So...
Well done, both of you.
Thank you.
Those are all great points. I appreciate your passion, especially you, Paul.
Oh, so passionate.
Have you seen kids these days, like what they're wearing? It's insane.
I mean, like,
I'm picturing,
which
picturing these 17, 18-year-old kids that are about to go to college. They're wearing, that's all back to what we used to wear in the 90s. It's
Yes.
all like Janko
All
pants,
90s.
which my parents would not let us wear Jankos.
I'm
They're
not-
expensive, first of all.
Yeah, I do.
I'm not missing the
I do
trend
know
this time.
Jankos.
I told Kels, I'm like,
You were wearing the opposite of Jankos right now. You got freaking short
well,
shorts.
that's because I'm a successful podcaster. But when I leave this office, dude,
You
I'm
put the
freaking
Jankies on.
yeah. Those things are
What-
thick, dude. You catch a breeze with those things? Oh my gosh.
What trends?
Fluffy.
What trends do you miss, like that were around then when you were a kid that you wish would come back? Because obviously Jankos
dude,
are
I have
coming
one.
back.
I have one, but it's the 80s. The neon colors, like the hot pink, hot green, hot.
Yeah.
I wish that would come back so
I
bad.
feel like it kind of does come back. Like,
but only like in little like accents, right? It's never just like just flat out. Everybody's just boom.
what
wearing
about
it.
what about stick shifts? Like I
Oh,
feel
that-
bad. These kids.
Yeah, that is. Sad.
First of all, if you're on a stick in a car, you can't be on your
Yeah.
phone. So they almost need to
Yeah.
like if we
They
throw
need
in
to do- yeah.
stick shifts.
Well, they do need to learn because you go to Europe, I feel like you rent a car, even if it's a brand new car, and half the time it ends up being a stick.
really,
That's true. No, Europe
Yeah.
they
Really?
still do it.
Yeah.
What I wish kids also had to go through is freaking metal slides at the parks. You remember
So
those
hot,
metal slides where
scalding.
you'd sit on it and just burn,
burn
you?
you.
These kids, I mean,
They don't know nothing.
First of all, they have like 800 parks to choose from in the
Yeah.
neighborhood now. We had like one we had to like walk miles and miles to, and it did burn the crap out of you. So I do wish the kids had to go through that. Maybe that trend can come back where we'll start building those type of parks.
I know, we need to. You can get those government contracts. Start
Oh my
bringing
gosh,
metal back.
yeah, for real.
Make America great again.
Do you know what else I want to come back? Free stuff in cereal. You remember you?
Oh,
those
yeah, the
cereal
little
boxes?
prizes.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh, the
yeah.
prizes.
Oh,
Are
so
they
good.
worried now that like if there's too much like plastic at the bottom of your cereal, your
Let
Captain
me.
Crunch?
You just sparked a really sad but good story. I thought I grew up really poor, so like Christmas, you got one gift, and that's what you got. You got one thing. So one time I was talking to a coworker about that, and he's like, "Oh, sounds like you had a really great what was yours like?" He's like, "My dad and mom would save the toys in the cereal,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's what we got for Christmas was these little." That's what they got. It's like they would just save the toys from the
that's where
cereal.
you're like, okay,
That's how
someone
they-
had it.
And I was like, oh, that does sound rough. Because I got the toys with cereal throughout the year, plus one gift at
Plus you get
Christmas, right?
Christmas.
It's like, man.
That's a ball. I want to do something. I'm gonna do that with McDonald's now because my kids always want Happy Meals, and for some reason they get them because
Okay, yeah.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start wrapping up those.
Just steal the toy
No,
out.
I'm not
Start
gonna name
wrapping them.
fillers.
I'm not gonna name names, but somebody I know, their only Christmas gift one year was a Book of Mormon. and they've since left the church. You know, that was their only gift.
That was their gift.
Yeah.
Weirdly, that's a great gift, just not.
You got to throw
for
in a
kid.
cereal toy with it.
Well, I mean, just
If there's
like it's probably not a greater gift for like your life, but when you're a kid, there's no way to recognize that.
no, that's
Right?
brutal. I'm gonna
That's
do that
brutal.
though.
How
All
old-
these are great
Yeah.
ideas.
Hey, how old
to
was
ruin my kid's
How old
Christmas?
was this kid when this happened?
Probably like 10, 11.
Jeez.
Who was his dad? The Grinch?
You guys, I don't want to go into detail.
This is brutal.
Okay, but
Oh my gosh. Hey, let's get to some.
Hey, outside the off the pod,
oh,
will you
for
tell
sure.
me? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
curious right now. What did you want back? He told you. I thought I want the neon back. What do you want back?
Rollerblades would be my number one choice.
Did you rollerblade a
I
lot?
was good.
Everybody
rollerblade?
rollerblladed.
I
Alex
don't
was a
rollerblade.
great.
I was
Alex was a great
good.
rollerblader.
I grew up on dirt roads, so there's no rollerblade.
Oh yeah, no, and I like.
You probably still
street
tried,
hockey.
though.
Like if I could play street hockey with my kids,
I know.
street hockey was so fun.
Rollerblading was awesome. I want to go way back though. Maybe like I think we need to bring back like this is way older is duels. Just those classic like I challenge you to a duel and
Yeah.
you step it off and you don't
Yeah.
like have to fight and cause this all these big scenes, these fights
Yeah.
like in public
Yeah.
that everyone's recording.
Yeah.
Just a classic, you know what?
Yeah.
I hate you, you hate me. Let's step it off and figure out who's best.
And just shoot someone.
I don't know. I think it's an idea.
Do you think?
Bring it
well,
back.
I wish they could invent something like you're saying, but like, maybe we tase each other, and like whoever gets
Okay,
tased first.
I
So-
like this.
So you
Then we
don't
can-
die, but you suffer.
Okay, yeah, we implement some like modern technology
Yeah.
into the duels.
Yeah. So maybe it's just.
And I think the
taser
worst
guns.
part of I'd rather get shot than get slapped with a glove. Because if you get shot, you just kind of die, man. A slap to the face
But
with a
isn't
glove
that-
is shocking.
Isn't that how I challenge you to the duel? Is the slap with the
Yeah,
glove?
but like if the challenge surprises you, like say we're getting along and all of a sudden maybe you're harboring some hatred towards me and all of a sudden whoosh,
Does anything set you off more than an unexpected strike to the face? Right,
For
like
sure.
like back in the day, if you got hit with a ball or somebody came up and whacked
the
you,
o- I was thinking about this. The only time I've
I would just
ever
go to 0 to 60. Like
the only time I've ever been punched in the face.
Okay.
I walked into my cousin's. I don't know. He was harboring some hatred towards me too. I walked in the front door and he was hiding on the side, and just boom hits me in the face as hard as he could. Like wounds up. I was bleeding and stuff. I have not talked to him ever since.
I
Dude,
think
I
that
got-
might be true. I think
I
that
got
might be true.
one time when I was really young. I was breaking into the kitchen at the church, and one of the leaders caught us, and he
You
just,
were poor.
he just came. That was more about just being mischievous. But he came running down the hall, and he got to me, and he was like, it was like slow motion, like he's about to punch me, right? But at the last minute, he opened his hand and like didn't quite get it open, so he kind of hit me like that.
Wait, who was this?
This some leader in my church. And so he
Like a
just,
bishop?
So like no, he was like the young men's president
Yeah.
or something. I don't know what he was, but he was at the church that night
Yeah.
during Mutual, right? But it just like whack across there. And all I remember is being like this really quick thoughts of I deserved that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just went, ow.
The fact that like
That's all this is. It
you're
came
still
out
a
like-
strong member of the church and
Yeah.
you're getting punched in the face by your leaders as a child like shows. I mean,
Dude,
I
got-
commend that.
But that
I
was
got-
totally like I deserved that. I was sitting there
That's
trying to break
impressive.
in through the door, right? And he caught
to
us.
steal bread.
I
What's
don't-
at the church?
well, there's nothing even in
Old
the kitchen.
lasagna, maybe.
Well, there's nothing even in there, right?
I
So it was
know.
just to be mischievous, and the doors. I was just
You didn't
literally
deserve
just the door's locked. I need to get on the other side of this door.
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
Oh, it
It's
was
okay.
definitely my
You're
fault.
forgiven.
Definitely no.
Forgiven. No, my buddy
Deserved
Jake. Speaking of church mischievous stuff, my buddy Jake. They were like 14 newly made teachers in during the sacrament meeting. They're preparing the sacrament, and they fill up all the water trays with actual water.
That was a prank back in the day.
Yeah, and with actual water, so that these deacons
are
are walking around and
sloshing
there's water sloshing everywhere. Don't do this at home.
Don't do that at home, but
gosh.
it is a good prank because that thing is just sloshing, and you pass it through the thing, and people are spilling water all over themselves.
Oh man.
Yeah, we had people do that too. It's such a bad prank.
Paul, I know we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We talked about these surgeries people are going over and getting in Turkey
Yeah.
for like hair
Hair transplants,
implants and
yeah.
things like that. I don't know if you've seen in the news lately that I think Jennifer Aniston and Kim Kardashian, what they're doing with their just random things that people are doing to like keep up with like
Youth or whatever.
Youth.
Youthful look, yeah.
so they're injecting, it says here,
Some salmon.
Tiger
Salmon
salmon.
nuts.
sperm Salmon sperm.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about this before. Yeah.
So I think you need to look more into that.
Didn't they used to do that with sharks? Like they found sharks aged the least, and so they were injecting shark blood or shark sperm.
There's something with sperm that like is like an anti-aging, rejuvenating thing. But
Makes sense.
I think we're getting a little desperate. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if Kim's doing it, it's gonna be in the next 5 years. Everyone's gonna be trying to go. We're not going to fish for salmon for the salmon. It's for the sperm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they're just injecting it though, right?
Injecting
love
it in their
that, though.
face.
Or are
Think
they
about-
just drinking
Think
it?
about a quiet day on.
Come on.
Wait, think about this though. Let me set this scene. Okay, it's a nice quiet day on the river. Your wife comes out with you. You know, I'm just, fly fishing out there. Bring it in, and Kelsey just grabs that
Yeah,
thing.
she's like, this is for my face.
Yeah.
And she somehow like,
Otherwise, I can't get her out there. But if I got some salmon goods flowing,
Yeah.
oh man. Another thing in the headlines I was reading about.
Well, so how is this salmon sperm inexpensive, and does it actually work, or is it just?
I bet it's very expensive, and I'm
I
sure.
don't know how
mean,
it could
if
be. Salmon's like the most plentiful fish at one point.
Yeah, but I tell you, maybe to like the procedure of injecting semen into your face is the expensive part.
Oh, they inject it in the face, kind of like Botox then?
Yes, it goes to the face.
And does it work?
I don't know. We're gonna find out because your wife in the next couple of years might be like, "Hey, go pick me up some salmon sperm."
Well, we'll see.
I feel like all things will lead to that cat look that we've talked about. That they just look like cats eventually.
Yeah, we've been quoting about these. We're worried about cats.
We're worried about
People turning into cats.
Well, they already are, like in elementary schools and stuff.
Well, yeah, that's. I support it.
Those
I
cats
support
we're fine with.
it. Yeah,
No,
those cats are.
It's mainly like the 40-year-old cats out
Yeah,
there.
just all the
Like,
injections.
are you talking
they're
about
getting.
like cougars? Those are a
No,
form
we're
of
talking.
cat.
No, what happens when you get like all these injections? A lot of times your face.
Oh yeah,
like,
their faces
kinda-
all, and their lips are all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you're just
Yeah.
more like
Just
that.
lacking
Hey,
whiskers.
Did you guys ever see the movie about the shark that it's like Cocaine Shark? You know those like B movies.
Well, I
they're
saw
making now?
Cocaine Bear.
Yeah, there's a cocaine shark, but it turns out this week they're finding in Brazil, they pull out 12 sharks and they test them for coke, and yes, they're finding cocaine and eating it at the bottom of these oceans
No, why would you test for cocaine? This is just weird.
because they're worried about these sharks. Like these environmentalists, they'll go a long way to like make sure their sharks
they'll
are
go a
not
long way
on drugs.
To spend government grants is what they'll go along.
Yeah,
to
but
do.
they tested positive for coke. Does that scare you? Because I've
That-
seen you
that
in the
my
water.
sharks are on cocaine.
You're
Well, it only scares me from this aspect is they did a study on birds whether they would have more sex while on cocaine or less sex
Mhm.
when they were on cocaine. What do you think they found?
I'm guessing they made love more.
Oh, of course they did because they're on cocaine. So I'm really scared that sharks are going to stop eating us and start humping us. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
only thing I'm scared
As
of.
long as they're humping each other.
No, I mean that's what I'm worried about. If they're on cocaine, you might just start humping
you're
you.
making- Hold on,
If a
you're
shark
making-
gives you the option of,
you're making.
hey, I will take you that way, or I will take you
I will eat you.
that way.
Oh, man.
Which way are you taking, okay?
You guys are making.
Is a life worth living if you have to live the rest of it knowing that shark, man,
You're making
tough.
cocaine sound like a hell of a drug.
It seems to be.
I gotta go. I gotta get in the ocean.
Yeah.
Well, can we wrap this up?
All right. Today in history, guys.
Do you know what happened on July 20th,
Oh yes.
1945 or 44? 44.
VE Day?
Nope.
July 20th.
D-Day was the
No, I
6th.
said VE Day.
July 20th, 1944.
Is this
So this is
our?
like 2 days ago.
It's got to be surrender. Was it?
The attempted assassination of Hitler when that bomb went off but didn't kill him.
Oh yeah. What exactly happened with that?
So what happened is the dude, I just read this. So the dude put the bomb down next to Hitler, like one person away, and then left.
and he had a. I've seen Tom Cruise. Going back to Tom Cruise, he had a patch over his eye. Valkyrie, right?
I don't know if he had a
Project
patch or not, but he
Valkyrie.
was missing an arm. I do know that. He only had one arm and 3 fingers on the one arm he had because they had to break this acid.
Hold on, wait 1 second though. If you're sending in somebody to like assassinate the most evil man in the world, do you want a guy that's got one arm and
Well,
like two
you
fingers?
take what you can get because who
Yeah.
can get close to Hitler?
Sounds like
So
he's failed, or
he's like a general, so
Yeah.
he gets invited to this war room, and so he's going to have access because they wanted to get Hitler the other two guys. Can't remember their names now.
Himmler.
I want to say Himmler and I want to say Goebbels, but it's not
Goebbels.
Goebbels. It's not Goebbels.
Oh, it's
the other
probably
guy.
Goring.
Anyway, yeah, that's it. Yeah. So they're trying to get those three. So they need those three in the room. Anyway, he puts the bomb down after he breaks the acid with his 3 fingers. It's got a 10-minute fuse. Once that acid eats through the fuse, it'll hit the detonator, right? And so he leaves the room, pretends he has a phone call. And they're sitting there fighting over this war thing, pointing at a map. And this guy who is next to him slides over to point at something and bumps into the briefcase. And it's kind of in his way. So he picks it up and moves it. But they had this big table they were on, had this big, like not legs, but like big, like granite things that the table sat on. And he moves it to the other side of the granite, essentially. And so that's why it didn't kill him. And it only killed, I think, one person because it ends up blasting into this thing on the table instead of just staying next to Hitler and blowing him up.
Yeah. But what's crazy is that was so late, 44, like almost at that point, Hitler
the war is literally almost
they're
over.
falling apart at that point.
Prior to this, the author's like going through all the battles they've lost. Everything's like basically just going terrible. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like this thing's over. But that's why they tried the assassination is they could see that the war was coming to an end and Germany was going to lose. And they thought if we lose, they're not going to allow a Germany to exist anymore, right? They're either going to give it all to the Soviet Union or they're going to give it all to France. There will not be a Germany. And so they thought if we can get rid of Hitler and then make peace, right, with everybody, they'll let us keep Germany. So the whole thing was not really about like get rid of Hitler. It was just we've got to preserve Germany. And the only way to do that is get rid of Hitler and then sue for peace, basically.
Hey,
just been one of our
quick
relatives.
question, because I posed this to my kids the other day, okay, because I'm constantly teaching them. But if you could go back in time and kill Hitler, would you do it?
Man, that is funny. I was contemplating that this morning. Like, it's like in the Book of Mormon, our podcast has a lot of that. But when Teancum kills that guy, is Teancum a murderer or is he a hero? Because he's kind of a hero because he kills what we perceive to be the bad guy. But in real life, I think he might be a murderer.
I think he'd just be labeled both.
But same thing with Hitler. Like, if you did assassinate him, right?
The answer is yes. The answer would be yeah.
I actually told my kids the answer is no. And here's why, right? So I'm reading this book on the Japanese.
Okay.
And the Japanese were equally as, if not more evil than Hitler, right?
Yeah.
But who is the Japanese Hitler?
We don't know his name.
I don't remember his name.
There is no name, right? So this is what the book talks about. It is literally just a group of hundreds of people. The issue is this whole mentality of this whole nationalistic mentality, right? This whole mentality of we are right and all others are wrong, right? Like it's our way or the highway. It's we're the greatest and these other creatures, these other people are like subhuman, right?
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that because again, Japan ran a similar war machine as Hitler. We just don't hear about it because it didn't affect us as much as Hitler, who was taking on first world countries. Japan's going up and rounding up all of Asia, but landmass wise, they conquered just as much as Hitler did.
You might as well kill Hitler.
But was Japan?
Does the world get worse if you don't kill Hitler? Is what you're saying?
No. But hold on.
Think you.
But was Japan trying to eliminate a race? Like they
we're talking about
literally
Hitler
did
right
think
now.
they were subhuman.
So if Hitler's not there, here's where I want.
If you kill Hitler, does Germany go farther? Is that what you're saying? Like
there's a shot, right? There's a shot that Germany gets. You guys,
you might as well kill him.
No,
you guys,
let
me explain this.
I get you already explained
Hitler
it. I get it.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But
you're wrong.
I definitely think you might as well kill him. The world doesn't get worse if he lived. If he doesn't get killed.
So going back to Lord of the Rings, right? Because everything boils down to Lord of the Rings. When Bilbo met Gollum, he had a knife. He could have killed him and just gotten and just moved along, right? But he doesn't. He decides to hop over him and spare his life, right? So pity doesn't kill him. And Gandalf has like a super famous phrase, and he says, "It was pity that saved Bilbo's hand." You don't know the end of all things, right? There are many forces at work in this world.
I get that. We don't know, but I'm saying you're saying the world would be a better place with Hitler than without him.
I'm saying we don't know. right? I'm
Yeah,
saying
but you
No,
do
we
know.
don't. No,
somebody
we
more
do
com-
know.
I'm
No,
saying
we do
somebody
know.
more
You know,
competent-
No.
you have stat.
No.
I get what you're
Yeah,
saying,
no.
but I think in the long run, if you're asking, is the world a better place with or without
Yeah,
Hitler?
Without him, the people
we
around
don't-
him were not as
we don't
maniacal
know,
as
but
him.
we do know what he does.
They
He
did
did.
not. They were not as maniacal as him. Like the things that this dude, like his brain,
there would have been another Hitler.
they were not as maniacal and ready to just
esque.
kill.
But like we don't know that, so we can't. We're
Yeah.
going off of just facts of like historical facts. You're
Yeah.
going off of like a hypothetical.
I'm just saying a competence thing, right? Because Hitler also had many flaws, right? That led to Germany. It was in the driver's seat to take over the world. They were
Yeah,
in the driver's
I
seat,
get that.
right?
Big time.
If Vegas had
Big time.
odds, it would be like
Yeah, big
100.
time.
And Hitler was literally sleeping when the
And-
D-Day happened. Like I get what you're about to say because you're going to say that they might have been better led without Hitler there because he was not a competent war leader.
Yeah, there is quite a few times
I get
his
that.
generals tried to tell him to
get
do
that.
stuff, and he
I
says
would
no, and it
You guys,
costs them.
all I'm saying is it's.
I would
food
say
for
go
thought.
back and talk to your kids and tell them to kill Hitler.
No, I just think
I'm more like Zach. Like, no, if you see
We
these
know what
things,
happens.
but the problem, right, is when do you know that it's happening? Like, because the people who tried to shoot Donald Trump, they think that's what's going on. Like, this kid probably thinks he's saving the world
Yeah, stopping the
from
next
from
Hitler.
Hitler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say that's the craziest thing I've ever heard because he's not out trying to annihilate a race of human, right?
But we already know what Hitler did.
It's like, well, yeah, but that's the difference, right? Hitler literally, if you didn't agree with him, you got killed.
Brother, I totally side with you on the college thing.
Thank you. So I won
And
one
I love
argument
you.
and lost one. I appreciate
But
it.
I love that you're the counterculture side of you.
You know, if we're gonna replay the simulation, if Hitler has a good dad instead of probably a really crappy dad,
So you would
it's
go
good
back
for
instead of killing Hitler, you would tell his father to stick around.
I would tell my kids raise him right. Get
Yeah.
in there,
It's
go
never-
hook up with his mob.
It's never like
Raise it
would
right.
you. The question is never like would you go back. It's always if you could. Like it's always like if there was a possibility. Yes. Now it's like hey, once I get back in time, I might choose to let him go, let the guy do his thing.
All I'm saying, you know,
Well done.
I think I would save him from his homeless days in Austria. Seems to have picked up
it's
some
not a
weird
bad place to
philosophies.
be homeless.
I
So
He seems to have picked up some bad philosophies.
All right. I know we've kind of pushed hard into politicos.
Yeah.
But we gotta cover what's happening. Obviously, we already talked about Trump getting shot last week, and now we're at the point where, you know, what's up with Biden? What's going on? He dropped out. He dropped out.
Paul thinks he's dead.
Doesn't feel well. Dead.
Well, like what's
Isn't he like talking to America tonight or
well, it
something?
was like a recording.
Oh,
I pretty might have faked.
why
the
are
whole
you
COVID
saying he's
thing.
dead? What?
Well, I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people saying that he's dying.
Really?
there, yeah, that
Hey, is
he's-
this true?
There's a difference between
Oh, yeah.
dead and dying.
Have you guys? Hey, have you guys listened or read the prophecy of Ezra?
No.
Dude,
No.
I got to send you this. So it's this prophecy of like basically world leaders throughout time. And it basically says this person's reign was cut short. And it has lined up with every single, like JFK getting assassinated was cut short. Somebody else was cut short. Nixon.
I hate.
And it lines
I
up.
hate this. Stuff.
Like it lines up exactly. Now,
the
the weird.
Nostradamus stuff. I hate
hold on.
this so much.
Real quick,
Dude,
it's
but
funny-
it says that Biden is one of them that will be cut short. So if he's
Yeah.
dead and it's cut short, I got to go listen
What's
to this
funny
thing
is you
again.
asked that. When you asked that question, I just thought if he saw my room with books, I have picture books and Sports Illustrated
Cat in the
swimsuit edition.
Yeah.
That's about it. I don't have Prophet of Ezra.
Yeah, the Prophet of
sitting
Ezra.
on my mantle.
Also, it's like people are always stretching to make these things work. It's just, you know what? The only real prophet is that lady on Harry Potter. You know, when she predicts.
Yeah. Mhm.
She was a prophetess.
But it is pretty wild times with Biden drops out. We
but
got a new
Did you know
new
that
candidate.
he's allegedly dead?
I have heard that
You've heard that?
he.
I didn't
I
know
mean, he
that.
disappeared into the night with like
Well, I thought
COVID.
he had COVID.
Well, you can get COVID to kind of. He probably
Yeah,
retreated.
but
to
you
regroup
have
a little bit.
to. You have to.
He's not dead.
What did they call it
He's
when they
coming out
forced us to
tonight.
isolate back when COVID was around?
Mhm.
Quarantine. He's quarantining.
He's quarantining on his Delaware mansion beach house, but I think he'll be back. And
Maybe-
lizard people can't get COVID. First off, it doesn't.
Great
It hasn't
point.
ust to their
That's a great
species yet,
point.
right? It's just
Yeah.
a human disease.
That's a great point. The thing I do like about Kamala is it seems she likes to laugh.
yeah, she's having a good time.
Like
yeah.
she seems like a good time.
Yeah,
I don't know if she can.
and I think Biden would be a sweetheart grandpa. Like he's for sure taking you to Maverick, getting you whatever treat you want, big gulps.
Yeah.
Sniff your hair.
I'm not worried about. If I get my big gulp, you can
Yeah.
sniff my hair as much as you want.
Yeah, you like, what's your deal? What is your hair like?
You act weird because I've been sniffing.
Proprietary?
He's a weirdo. Haven't you seen all the videos of him sniffing kids and being weird?
but,
He's
you know,
tested-
I wouldn't let
those are
that
cheap
grandpa
fakes.
near my kids.
He had COVID. He's probably testing to see if he has that
He's
smell
freaking.
still.
But you're
Maybe
letting
that's what's going
but you're
on.
letting
Maybe
Trump
that's what's going
freaking hang out with your daughter.
My daughter, yeah. My wife, no.
Oh my gosh, we got some exemplaries up there for sure.
We do.
But
yeah.
my boy Alex one day will be. I'm gonna be the Robert Kennedy to you?
Oh, I would love that. Yeah.
Because eventually I am like, hey, I'm gonna be the next president. So as long as you're president first,
Yeah, and I'll get shot, but hopefully.
And then
hopefully
you'll
I
die
turn
in a
my
we
head.
both
plane.
get shot, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no,
you're
I thought one died. Oh, you did both get shot.
Yeah.
Who died in the
RFK
plane? The kid, right?
Yeah, the kid. But RFK was like the man, right? Like there was no politician that we've had before since like RFK in terms of like the man,
He's a bulldog.
like going after, knowing that like right now we think like there's this deep state, right? There's this group of people, elites that are running everything. Back then they knew it. It was the mob, and you didn't say anything about it because you got killed. And he said stuff about it. He went after him.
And he got
freaking
killed.
shook him up. Like he shook him up, and he got killed.
Yeah, it's a bummer though that you use the system and then you turn away from the system because they used the mob. His dad did to
Yeah.
like, help him get into office, and eventually they're like, hey, actually, I know you helped us.
But that's where again I think the relationship as brothers was freaking cool. Is that JFK was more of a natural leader, right? I think a little bit more likable. I mean, RFK grew into that for sure, and
There's
would
a
become
brother,
president.
one of the brothers they really thought was going to be the politician died in World War II.
Yeah, Jack. But JFK recognized his brother was right, and rather than doing what would have been the easy thing to do, he did like the right thing, which was like go after the mob, right? Like to go after and shake this up. I mean, you look at. I feel like what I get to hear a lot from Trump is how his defense for him not draining the swamp because he didn't have a congresswoman to help him or he didn't have this or that. And I'm like, this is the swamp that I want to drain, right? JFK had one term. He didn't even have a full term, right? Or no, he had one term, and did he?
No, it wasn't.
No, he had
reelected?
3 years. 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah.
right? And like,
1960,
and again,
1963.
this dude went after the mob.
Yeah.
He went after corruption because of his brother, right? Because it was
Went
right,
after them.
even though he knew.
Dude, I'm going to go do some research on this. If you're filling me full of crap right now, I'm going to be so mad
He's
at you.
not. He was a man of action.
No, he's a romantic. So sometimes he looks in the past and he's all romanticizing that JFK did or didn't
JFK
do.
was a romantic.
That's what I'm saying. And then I'm going to go
guy.
find out that he really didn't drain any mafia crap, and I'm going to be pissed.
I
I want you to find.
He
that
better
out
be
because
telling
I
the
hope
truth
I'm
right
wrong.
now.
I mean, I assume. I assume that there's a chance that I'm wrong, but I know RFK.
Because it feels more like they killed him along with the FBI and
Yeah.
J. Edgar Hoover, and so he
Sure, but they locked up a
didn't
ton of
sniff anybody
mobsters.
out.
They locked up a ton of
They did.
mobsters, and mobsters had not
The
been
mob-
locked up before that, right?
Yeah.
And that was a big deal, right? They sent a message to organized crime, I think, that way. And I think at least the story we've been told since then is that organized crime's been on the decline since
Do you know
then.
who he pissed off was Sinatra? Sinatra,
Yeah.
dude, because he had some ties with the mob too. And I think Sinatra would literally build parts of his house like just so JFK would come visit. He never visited. He was too busy. He was
Yeah.
upset him.
And
upset him.
also, like,
He was
when you're
getting that tail too. I mean,
He was,
in the White
he was
House,
too busy with
outside the
Maryland,
White House.
dude. He was too busy
Yeah.
with Maryland to go visit Sinatra.
Mhm.
It's like, Frank, I'd love to come over, but Maryland's coming over tonight.
Yeah.
So
Let's
gonna
cover
do
what
there?
shows we're watching right now. I'm gonna tell you mine really quick because I usually like to just force them on you. So The Bear just had season 3, and it's a show about this awesome chef that has to come back and run his brother's little sandwich shop, and then they get ambitious and try to like make a new like Michelin star restaurant. But it's just amazing. It has awesome music, great dialogue, funny characters. Like the whole thing's just great.
the bear.
The Bear. It's one of my favorite shows. It's probably it's up there for me for something I've enjoyed in a long time. It's been awesome.
Yeah, I need to catch up.
Soundtrack is amazing. It's dramatic, but funny, and the editing is fast paced. I think you like it.
Yeah, the Bear's awesome.
I'd highly recommend it. Another show I just watched real quick was The Woman in the Sea, the Disney movie. I'm not saying you have to watch it, but it's kind of a cool story.
What's it about?
This girl back in like the 1920s swims across the English Channel. First
Oh,
person
yeah.
to do it. First woman to do it. A couple guys to do it, but people were dying all the time. So it's like her story. Living in New York, she had this German dad that was like against her swimming. I don't know how true everything is because I just watched the movie, but I always love those like epic endurance things. I mean, it had its Disney filter on, of course. You know how Disney does that. So it can be kind of corny, but the story is awesome. So that's another one I watched.
Yeah. Recently, I went back with my kids and we rewatched the Avatar cartoon series, which was a like cartoon series that came out in like the 2000s in that era, but it kind of like is like an anime looking thing, but the actual cartoon's very funny.
Dude, I was hoping you watched the one from like the 90s or 80s, whatever it was. But have you ever seen Monk?
No,
I'm almost done. It's got like 9 seasons or something, but I
never got over his face. I couldn't, like, the guy's face kind of
his face.
It was just kind of a weird face to watch
I
for
hate
seasons
his
at a
face.
time.
I'm with you. Mr. Bean?
No, it's not Mr. Bean.
Oh, yeah, he looks like
No,
freaking
but he
Mr.
does.
Bean.
He's the guy off of
He has
Men in
similar
Black.
name.
He was in Men in Black. He had a scene where he was like an alien.
His
at one
name's
point.
Tony
Oh,
Shalhoub.
yeah.
He's an awesome actor, but
Good actor.
People like that show.
That show's really good though.
Yeah.
I was almost done rewatching that.
Anything else we want to cover this week? Any last words to America as we head into
America.
Yeah, I do have something.
another week full of news?
No, I have something. Like post-Trump assassination, you had liberals, a lot of liberals everywhere saying things, and we kind of discussed this a little bit off pod yesterday, saying things like, I wish he would have been shot. I wish that bullet would have hit him. And so what you've had is a bunch of conservative people finding those people where they work and showing up to their work and harassing them.
Stop.
In the case of one at Home Depot getting this lady fired, right? This lady was crazy. But ultimately, do you believe in free speech or do you not believe in free speech, right? Because if you believe in free speech, let freaking people say whatever they want to say, right?
Sure, but what you're saying, like, I'm with you, but you have to really understand what free speech means. It does not mean no consequences. So you can say whatever the hell you want. Nobody put her in jail.
This person was a troll,
right?
though.
Like, free speech means you don't get, by the government, you don't get thrown in jail because you disagree with what we said or our policies, the way that Hitler would just shoot you if you said anything bad about Nazism, right? So that's free speech. It doesn't mean there's just no consequences to what you say.
When I said in 2020 that if I posted that the vaccine is hocus pocus, and then my employer went and said, hey, we don't like what you're saying, here's your consequence.
That's a consequence of saying that, right?
Yeah, but
That's cancel culture.
That's
though.
cancel culture.
Hey, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying you can't call that free speech. That's cancel culture, which deeply hate cancel culture. I'm actually with you. I'm actually with you. Like, I don't feel like you should go chase people down and get them fired because they said something, because the king of saying dumb things is me.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think you should do that, but I don't think that's the line is not, that's not free speech.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying.
What I do agree with you, there is consequences for things you say. Like, you can call someone dumb.
You might get punched in the face. Yeah.
But when people are like specifically just going out being trolls and trying to like be that annoying, which is
so
like,
stupid.
I don't know where these people are coming from, where they're like, it's a new type of person where they're taking their phones and they're going up and taunting cops. They're taunting people just to get people in trouble. Those people did not exist when we were kids.
Yeah.
If that person existed, no one liked them. And now everyone's like, oh, I can like watch this guy be like a troll, a live troll to this police officer or to this whatever. I can say whatever I want. I watch this. There's a kid that goes around and he taunts people at football games. He wears the opposite person's gear, opposite team's gear, until like just to piss off people. And he goes and like tries to bait people into like punching him.
Yeah.
I hate these people. They're so annoying. They didn't exist as we were kids because we wouldn't let them. There was consequences for being an annoying kid.
Dude,
no one liked you.
Maybe we should talk about that on the next pod. I know a lot of kids, like in the 16 to 20-year-old, that believe that this is a problem of the whole cancel bullying. They're like, if kids got bullied, they wouldn't act this way. But because they're not bullied, they just do these. They just think they can do anything in life.
I agree with some of the bullying does set things in order. I feel bad for kids that are bullied, so it's tough. It's a tough balance because right now we're in a world where kids weren't bullied.
Hey, to be clear, this is not
but
me.
they're also bullied in different ways. Like,
because this is not me. These are
they're
just
bullied
kids
online.
I know that have said this.
They're bullied like online, which is totally different. But they're not like the normal bully stuff.
In the end, let the free market work. And like when you see stuff like this, just don't stay out. Don't like and subscribe. Right, that crap. Right, like that's the problem. Is there's an audience for it, and that's why they're doing it. They're seeking the attention. And there's an audience for it, right?
I blame their parents.
So
give them attention. If my kid was going out with a camera
Hey,
like that, I'd be
but
like,
back to what you were
"Bud, you
saying.
need to stop."
Don't go chasing people down and harassing them, right? Because they said something stupid.
People
Yeah,
are trying to
just-
cancel this pod all the time.
I know.
I-
It's that we have protesters out
But it's
right
not
now.
like it's it's either
we have to
protesters
feed
or just
them
my
too, which just
mom
sucks, dude. I've always have it
or
like,
my
hey,
wife.
I'm heading to McDonald's. You guys want anything? And they're like, yeah.
But isn't it a little bit like Joe Rogan where he's uncancelable because if Spotify kicked him off, he can just go somewhere else for the same money. We, in a similar manner, because we have zero revenue, what are you canceling?
Yeah, no, I'm not. I think
Yeah, we're
canceling
zero.
is like just a state of mind, like where you're like giving up, like oh, the people are pressuring. But like, if
Yeah.
you don't, if you just tune everyone out and you just, even if you're just making this and no one listens,
Hey,
it doesn't
Pitt-
matter as long as you enjoy doing it. That's what Rogan does. He's like, I'm gonna do what I like to do. If you don't like it, sweet. If you do like it, sweet. I don't care. I enjoy this, and that's the Howard Rourke style of person where it's like I'm gonna do the best work I can do as a person, and let the chips fall where they may.
Yeah, live your life, live in your world and your life, and leave other people alone and assume they're gonna leave you alone. But just jumping onto one thing, because this freaking shot my memory of this, is the conspiracy. Have you heard the conspiracy though about like the Truth Social shorts? Because Donald Trump gets assassinated, and Truth Social is Donald Trump, right? Like if he's gone, like that place is like there's nobody getting on there, right? And it's worth like $4 billion or something like that. But there are like groups that had shorted it right before the assassination attempt,
Like big time $1 billion short position. Like we're talking.
It wasn't $1 billion, but
inside information. How big was it? $1 million?
It was like a couple million shorting that thing. I mean, it would. I mean, if Trump
couple
was
million
assassinated-
shares or a couple $1 million?
I think it was a couple $1 million. But I'd love to look into it because there's no
too.
more obvious red
Get
flag.
me involved with something. I want to be on the good end of these these
shorts.
conspiracies
I know.
and like these like ideas like this.
No, I know we got to get in with the lizard people.
Oh, you just want me to start sending you all the conspiracies?
It's like, hey, guess what? This might happen. So short this
Oh, you want
I want
the inside
insider
information
for
We need
sure.
some cash.
Cash money.
Yeah.
It's time for the little guy to get a little inside info.
All right. Cool. We're good. Right?
Sweet. Let's end it.